Hello and welcome to 360 Gamercast episode 125 for Tuesday the 21st of June 2022. I'm your host Mark Webb, gamertag Pearson ID, Steam ID, Webby 360G, and joining me on this very fine evening is...
He's Alex from Nintendo Arcade, he's back!
And says I Switch, still here from last week, haven't left.
Still here, mate. No, it's nice to have you on as normal, Darren, and Alex. It's always nice to have you back.
Cheers, mate.
Old reliable Darren's not here next week though, so it's just me on my own at the moment. So I need to try and organise some peoples. But we'll worry about that during the week. All is good in the hood, though. All is good in the hood. So yeah. It's been a good gaming week for me. I'm not sure about you two, but I'm just going to go. I just want to talk about one game in particular before we kick off into everything else that you guys have played, if that's okay.
Has it got anything to do with pizzas?
It does have everything to do with pizzas. Yeah. Yeah, so... Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Shredder's Revenge released.
I've heard nothing but praise for this game, like from most places.
Yeah,
10 out of 10s and stuff from a lot of people.
Yeah, so it. Fuck's sake, I'm trying to get the video onto my other screen and it's just glitching out. Yeah, so it released this week. What, my PC is acting up for some strange reason. Don't know why.
Sod's law.
Oh no, it's just whenever I want to do stuff, it just wants to act up. Yeah, so it released this week, so it's out on all platforms. But it's also launched onto Xbox Game Pass this week, which is absolutely fantastic because if it hadn't have launched on Game Pass, I would have bought this anyway. Some people are thinking this is actually an old arcade game. It actually isn't. It's a brand new game made by the same team that made the later Streets of Rage game. So it's got some good pedigree.
There's never been a Turtles game that's more than 4-player, as far as I'm aware.
No, so this is what I was going to get into as well. So... so it's a
was it the ex-Sega guys then that did the original Streets of Rage?
It's the ones it's whoever it is that did the last Streets of Rage game that everyone liked.
I think a couple of those guys are out in that studio, I believe. Right,
but it's absolutely fantastic. So it looks and plays exactly like an old arcade game. It has that really nice pixel art to it. But also, what's really good about this, unlike every other side-scrolling beat-em-up that comes out, most of them that come out are either local co-op only or only 2-player online co-op, whereas this has 6-player online co-op, and you can choose between 7 different characters, and the game is and it works flawless. So for the first time in probably years, there were 6 of us from the community all on the same game at the same time, all playing together in party chat, having a good laugh. I was in shock that we managed to get 6 people from the community all on playing the same game at the same time. I was quite shocked actually. So that was absolutely fantastic to see. So I just want to give a big shout out to everyone who joined me, which was Clarky, Frosty, AJ Geezer, What's My Tag, and Captive Venom, all from the community. So big shout out to you guys for joining in last night. It was absolutely fantastic. And we actually finished the game. We went from like level 1 to level 16. There's 16 levels on this. And with 6 players...
Is that because there's 2 modes, isn't there? So was that story mode?
Yeah, so story mode. Yeah, so because we wanted to get the story done and out the way, and I'll probably try the arcade mode at some point in the future. And as Venom has just reminded me in the Twitch chat that we were all playing it until 1 o'clock this morning. That's when we finished.
Wow.
So Yeah. So not only did we have 6 of us all on, we all stayed up really late as well, because
That's
usually you'd find
awesome.
because you'd usually find some people normally would drop off maybe about 11 or whatever, maybe midnight because they're tired or whatever. But it just goes to show the quality of the game that everyone just wanted to stay on until we'd finished it.
Yeah.
Which is awesome. And I love these old arcade games, and everyone was just having a really good blast as well. And it what I really like about it is there's no bad levels. Every single level is just really well done and is unique. And they're not too long, they're not too short. If that makes sense, they're just right. And I also like the fact that it's easier than Streets of Rage. I actually think that the last Streets of Rage game is too hard. Like, I gave up on it on like the 3rd level because I just couldn't get past it. And that's not being me being a noob. I don't think it's just
did that
because
on your
it's
own,
hard.
though, didn't you?
Yeah,
Did you do that on your own?
Yeah.
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 I think that's the difference. You need to bring another player into that, because me and my son did it, and I thought, there's no way I'm going to carry on with this once you're gone. You know, and I'll wait for you to come back and stay at mine again, and we'll continue it.
Yeah.
Because it is rock hard.
But with Turtles,
and I'd
if
imagine
you
it's the same with this.
No, if you play with Turtles on your own, you could blast through the game as well. Really,
Right.
I mean, because I've played it quite a bit on my own. I played some of it with my 4-year-old. You know, and I played quite a bit of it with Peeps. Well, me and Peeps got up to the 14th level the other day, so we actually nearly finished it ourselves as well. So, yeah, I'm absolutely loving it. So,
I was going to say, I did hear that they actually, even for this game, didn't they bring back some of the original voice actors from the old Turtles arcade game?
Well, they sound. I mean, because I'm a big Turtles fan from back in the day. I grew up with the Turtles, the cartoon. So for me, it's you know, I love the Turtles, and it's just such a great franchise for me, because it brings me back to my childhood, and I remember playing the old arcade game as well. So it does feel, as I say, it feels very arcade, and I love the fact, like, the intro is it feels like it's from the original cartoon, which is pretty awesome.
Yeah.
And it has all the original characters, you know, Rocksteady, Bebop, Krang, Shredder, and maybe some others that I don't really remember. So you can have 6-player online. You have the 4 Turtles, April, Splinter, and I forget the other guy's name. There's another guy which you only
Casey
get
Jones.
Casey, so you only unlock him when you finish the game.
Oh, right. Because I was wondering that, because I did see like that Splinter was in it as well. I thought it was just Casey and April.
No.
But
So yeah, you only
all these names are going straight over my head.
Yeah, I thought they would, Alex. That's fine. But for fans of the show, you know, you'd know them all. But
yeah.
What I like about it is every character plays slightly different. So obviously they all have their different weapons, but you also get a super move, which so there's a couple ways to get your super move bar up, and one of them is just to beat enemies, and it slowly goes up, and you press the Y button or triangle if you're on PlayStation, and you do a super move. Or you got a taunt button, so every time you press that and you successfully do a taunt, it puts one up on the bar. And so each character has a different super move, and then as you're playing through the game as well, you unlock more moves for your characters as well. So each character can level up to 10. So I've maxed out Leonardo, and I want to go through and play it some more and level up the rest of the characters. There's all different achievements attributed to that. Also, there's lots of different collectibles in the game. So there's an overworld map on the game. So you're in your little Turtles car, and you're moving from like level 1 to, you know, like old Mario sort of style, you know, top down, selecting the different level. But there's these sections on the city where there's people to go to who you give the collectibles to. So there's a man who wants VHS tapes. There's these weird these weird frogs that want bugs. And then there's another person that wants these newspaper clippings. So you've got all these free collectibles to give to the people. There's all achievements attributed to them. And then there's characters on each level you need to try and find as well. So there's definitely some replayability in that regard as well, because some of them are hidden quite well. So there, as I say, there is some replayability there. But the game, like the game in itself, and this is why you play a game, right? It's just so much fun. It's, you know, it's that classic arcade feeling. Like there's no lag. Like everything feels very responsive. The online is spot on. You know, 6 of us online, and you know when you play some of these kind of arcadey type games, you get a bit of slowdown where the internet connection's trying to catch up on all the different systems. We experienced.
You used to get slowed down in general on the games anyway.
Yeah.
Like back in the day.
Yeah, but we had none of that. So the netcode on this must be absolutely phenomenal, because you say, I've played it online with Peebs, I've played it online with randoms, I played it, as I say, the 6-player online last night. No issues at all. It just ran flawless. And the game itself gives a very 80s nostalgic feeling, not just with the way it looks and plays, and you know that classic Turtles theme. It's the music as well. The music is very 80s, like rock, which I really love. Like some of the soundtracks on the levels, I'm like, oh wow, I want to, I want to get the playlist of Spotify and listen to it because it's so damn bloody good. This game is, it's definitely a 10 out of 10 for me. You know, it's just such a surprise to have such a sleeper hit come out this week. Because usually these games come out and I'm like, yeah, it's all right. You know what I mean? I'll play it once and I'll be done with it. But it's just that, you know, whenever you're playing it, you just have a smile on your face, just because it's just so much fun. They've done such a good job with it. It just feels like a proper labour of love. Yeah, the dev team that made this really love. I think they really love Turtles, and I must have watched the cartoons to no end, because it's just, everything just feels so authentic. You know, like it
was such a popular arcade as well. Like you think back in the days, like that was one of the arcades that was always cranked up the volume.
Yeah.
The 4-player and everything, like at fairs and things.
Yeah. So obviously I've been playing this on the Xbox, but it's also obviously on Game Pass on PC. So I've been playing it on the PC with my arcade stick, and that works flawless as well. Very responsive, and it actually feels like I'm playing a proper arcade and I'm using a stick, and that's just really, really nice. It has cross-play as well, so you can play with different systems. So I've been playing, so I did test that out with some Xbox players in the week, and that worked fine as well. So all in all, you know, it's a really good package that even I think it's like 20 or 30, I think it's like 20 quid. It might be 30 on the Switch, I'm not sure, but you know,
I'm definitely gonna get it.
I think it's worth it. It's definitely worth it.
It's on sale on PlayStation at the moment.
There you go. Yeah,
like they've got a sale on it.
Yeah,
for it, so it's under 20 quid, I think, on PlayStation.
Bargain. You know, if this hadn't, as I say, if this hadn't come to Game Pass and I'd just seen the gameplay or a video review or something, I would have picked this up, no question, because it's just, I love Tales, and two, I love these type of arcade games, and you know that because that 6-player co-op works so well, it's just a no-brainer, really. So yes, it's so good.
Is it crossplay or?
So it has got crossplay. You have to turn it on though. Awesome. It's automatically turned off. So you just need to make sure you go and turn it on. And I think like
you could technically be playing with someone on each different platform that it's available on in one game.
Yeah, which would be really cool. Yeah, so I think, you know, as I say, it's just such a sleeper hit in my opinion, and it's just and also it's just nice for Game Pass to get a really good quality game at launch, because you know we have been burnt a little bit with launch games just being a bit average, whereas this is definitely, I mean, I've seen so many 10 out of 10 reviews for this, it's not even funny. So as I say, it's very highly regarded.
I sort of saw it like when it was obviously shown off and thought, it looks all right, might be sort of worth it, and then hearing that, oh, it's got a story mode and an arcade mode, and seeing all these reviews and hearing all of the, like, how much fun it is and how much they obviously were fans of the original and everything, I was like, I think I've got to pick this up.
Yeah.
Yeah, they've actually got some experience. I'm just reading up about it here with, I think they did Scott Pilgrim versus the World, which is another beat up, which was pretty cool. And they did the music for Sonic Mania and Streets of Rage. So you know
fantastic.
they've got some good guys. They've got some good guys on board for this one for sure.
Yeah, that's excellent.
You actually get a Pizza Hut coupon with this game as well, don't you?
Yeah, so if you buy the physical copy, yeah,
which you didn't.
No, Game Pass all the way, baby.
Yeah.
But it's just made me laugh because we've been playing it. Like, I've been playing it quite a bit with my boy, and then he's been walking around the house just singing the theme tune, going "Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles," which is just really funny, brilliant. You know. So yeah. just
Fun fact: if there's any American listeners out there, we didn't have Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles in Europe.
No, we had Hero Turtles, didn't we?
We had Teenage Mutant Hero Turtles, yeah, because Ninja was too violent.
Yeah.
See, I don't have any experience. I'm a bit older, you see. I'm showing my age now, so I don't know when this was. This a 90s cartoon for you guys?
Yeah.
Would you say?
I think it was early 90s.
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
I mean, when I
you were still at school then watching it.
Oh yeah, big time. Yeah.
I mean, I saw it all over in America. I went to visit America when I was reasonably young, and went into one of the toy stores over there. Obviously, I was completely freaked out at the fact that the prices are all fucked in America because they don't actually add the tax on until you get to the till.
Yeah.
So I'd be walking up with like the exact money for something, and then it's like, oh, that's more than. I'd be like, what? Come on, like that's stupid. Sort that out. But yeah, I kept seeing all these figures for like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Didn't think anything of them. Didn't buy any like an idiot. And then like about a year later, it hit over in Europe, and it was like massive.
Yeah.
It was just like, oh, wow. Should have got some while I was over there.
Yep.
Especially people would have been well jealous because it was the ninja versions as well. Like.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, as I say, it's just so well done. All the little cutscenes and that are really cool. They're all kind of like the pixel art graphics as well. So yeah, man.
Is it pixel art graphics? It looks more like cel shaded kind of graphics.
No, it's pixely, man. It's like that kind of 16-bit look. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. See, the only experience I have with Turtles is Turtles in Time on Super Nintendo, which yeah, fantastic game. But yeah, I'm not.
I mean, they look like they've taken one of the aspects from that, which was the being able to throw enemies into the screen.
Yeah, that's so cool. Yeah.
Mode 7, baby.
Yeah, so I just wanted to mention that first and foremost because I had such a good time on it this week. It's 10 out of 10. Great game.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
It's actually 2 games came out this week, which like Turtles wasn't the only game to get a little revival this week. Did either of you pick up the other one?
No, I want to pick it up though. You're talking about Mario.
No, Vendetta.
Oh, Vendetta! I pre-ordered that as a physical copy, so I'm waiting for that at the moment.
Yeah, because obviously that again was another Konami arcade from back in the day, which generally I saw 2-player versions, but it was really a 4-player game.
Yeah, it's getting good reviews, isn't it? What I've seen.
I've heard it's pretty hard. People saying it's pretty difficult when it comes to sort of obviously that. So it's proper, obviously old school coin guzzling style.
Is this just on the Switch or is this on all systems?
No, I think it's on all systems. It's just put in Vendetta. I can't remember the actual
I'm looking
name
at
of
it now. Yeah, it looks like Streets of Rage. No, more like Double Dragon, actually, I would say. It kind of looks like.
Yeah.
I don't think it's a remake because I think there's only 3 characters in it. possibly, and there was, like I say, there was 4 in the OG one.
And I think Double Dragon's probably the worst example of a good side-scrolling beat 'em up. To be honest with you,
I used to love Double
really,
Dragon as a kid.
Oh, it was great as a kid, but it
Yeah.
did get like it evolved pretty well. Like other companies, like took that formula and made it a lot more enjoyable, in my opinion.
Yeah, well, we'll get into it when I do my thing, but I've actually been playing the Neon, Double Dragon Neon. Is it Neon? Yeah.
Well, I was going to go into
But I still think the 2 games that I will say that I think really kicked off the side-scrolling beat 'em ups in the arcades per se for me were Final Fight and Golden Axe.
Oh, Golden Axe. Can't beat Golden Axe, man. Gavlar's just been in Twitch chat. He says, Altered Beast was the worst. He used to think it was so cool, but it actually sucks. I have to agree with you. I remember as a kid... playing Altered Beast on my mate's Mega Drive, going, "Wow, this looks so cool!" And now I look back at it now, and I'm like, "Oh my god, that game sucks balls."
It's kind of alright. It was the main thing was like, oh wait, you can turn into a werewolf.
Yeah, that's it.
And
Yeah.
punch people to pieces. Yeah.
Yeah. So, Alex, talk to us about your games played, my man.
Oh, mate, I've had a bit of an eventful week, really, because, well, last couple of weeks, yeah, I'll say a little bit about it. I can't say too much because I haven't signed on the dotted line yet, but I'm hoping to open up an arcade, my own arcade.
Whoa!
Yeah,
That's so cool.
Big news. Yeah, it's fairly local to me. It will be a partnership with a couple of other guys. They invited me down there. I've seen the space. It looks awesome. It will be kind of like a museum. It won't be like an arcade, like the arcade club, where people just come off the street. It's going to be a bit of an educational trip in the daytime. And in the evening, it will be more fun kind of thing, which I'm going to do it all out with neon lights and everything. But it's already established as a computer museum.
Oh,
that's cool.
And they reached out to people to come in with ideas, and I reached out to them, and they absolutely loved it, and they 100% want me to do this.
Wow,
they've just
got
to take it. Yeah, they've just got to take it to their board and just get them to agree it all. And yeah, it's really exciting. It just means a lot of my machines are going to be gone out of here into another space.
Not Sky Skipper.
Yeah, Sky Skipper will go into a museum. I think it belongs in a museum. It's I don't play it that often, and I think people need to see this and play it and learn about the history about it. I think it's one of those games that needs to be in a museum.
Yeah.
And because it's priceless, we don't really know what it's worth.
Yeah.
I think it's the best place for it, really. All these games were made for people to play, and I don't play a lot of them. I play my favourites, but I don't play all of them at a time.
Yeah.
And having an opportunity like this gets other people to play it, and I get enthusiastic about it because I've done revival many times. I've taken my machines to revival events, and I just love seeing people play my machine.
Is it nerve-wracking?
It can be with games like Sheriff.
Yeah, are people taking care of my baby? Kind of a thing.
That's it.
Well, this is it, Darren, because this place appealed to me because it is a museum. It's not going to be like the arcade club where you get kids off the street.
You're not going to get that kind of people dragging the joysticks about.
No, I've already been there. It's a really nerdy kind of posh museum, if you like.
Okay, that sounds cool.
I think it's the ideal place for those machines. Otherwise, I wouldn't have considered it. So. There's a lot for me to consider. There's a lot of money for me to invest in it and a lot of time. But if it means I can hang up the trowel and do this to earn a wage, then I'm all up for it, man. I'm all over it.
Definitely. That sounds really good idea. Excellent. Well, good luck to you, mate. That sounds really good.
So I've already been shopping.
Good lad.
I've been shopping for some arcade games, and when I brought some bloke in the community put up a Qbert arcade machine, and I thought,
Oh,
fuck,
I love Qbert.
that'd be a brilliant classic to put in there, because it's one of those games that women actually quite enjoy. It's quite an approachable game. It's not like Defender where you've got like fucking 10 buttons. People just walk away from it, but it's just a joystick, isn't it? And it's just so easy. And it's got that kind of artwork, that classic artwork that people associate with, Wreck-It Ralph. The character, he was in there, wasn't he?
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
It's just a recognisable game. So I thought, I'll just buy that. I haven't picked it up yet. My mate still got it, but I grabbed that. And yeah, I've just started looking at games to get for the museum at the moment, which is quite fun. But yeah, I don't know. I've got signed on a dotted line. That's going to be at the end of the month, so we'll see how it goes, man. But yeah, it's pretty exciting.
Yeah,
pretty
that sounds really cool, my man. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. But other than that, games. What I've been playing a lot, but they're not really. I've had a bit of a cyberpunk kind of buzz at the moment, because I've been playing that Hunt Down, which I recommended to you last time, Webby.
Yeah.
Do you remember?
Yeah.
Did you play it at all?
Yeah. I talked about it last week, actually.
Yeah.
And
did you?
Yeah, because obviously, like, Peeps reminded me that he'd played it and he really liked it as well. So there's that's two recommendations. I've got to give it a bish bash bosh. So yeah, I downloaded it onto my Switch, and I think that's a really nice way to play it, actually, because you can just, because it's got that nice kind of pixel art. I think it just looks nice on that small screen as well. You can just chill out on the sofa, feet up, and play it. Yeah, I love the aesthetic.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, it's cool, isn't it? I mean,
I'm only on like the third level. I've not played it loads.
I've nearly finished it. Some of the bosses are quite hard, but if you keep at it, it's a very, very rewarding game.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm nearly at the end of that. So I was on a bit of a, because I had it downloaded on my Switch, but I went out and bought the physical copy, because I'm a collector. I have to have a physical
I know
copy.
what you're like. Yeah.
And I've just been hammering that quite a lot, but it kind of got me in a kind of dystopian kind of buzz, really, with a lot of these kind of cyberpunk games that I kind of missed, really. So I went out and brought Double Dragon Neon.
Oh God!
Which is kind of, yeah. I mean, it's terrible. I fucking hated it. I didn't enjoy it at all.
Thieves went through that, didn't they?
Yeah, it's by Way Forward that do really good games normally. They did Shantae and all of that. But yeah, I just found it really, really monotonous, really boring combat. And then I thought, actually, Double Dragon is like that. All them games are like that,
Sure, this was on the Xbox 360 back in the day. I'm sure it's a 360 title.
Yeah, it's been out a few years, I think. I think all these games
it was on the 360, yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of these games have been out quite a while, but I've just thought I've missed out on these. I've got to go and I didn't realise they all had physical releases. So I went and got Back Future 88. Oh, sorry, Black Future 88, which is another kind of cyberpunk 2D platforming. It's like a twin stick shooter. It's absolute mayhem. I mean, it looks gorgeous, loads of neon colours and stuff like that. But if you want a fast-paced action arcade kind of shooter, Black Futures is pretty cool, actually. I'm quite enjoying it, but it is fucking hard. It's really hard. That game's been out for quite a while. So I picked up that. Another cyberpunk game I picked up was the Ruiner. Again, I think this has been
that's on Game Pass, I think. I'm pretty sure that's a Game Pass title, yeah.
It's top-down twin stick shooter where you have really small little levels to do, really fast-paced, taking out loads of enemies that are coming out of doors and stuff like that. But you've got kind of like a slow-down effect like the Matrix. You can kind of position where you want to really quickly whiz round the room and attack them from behind. I don't know. It got a bit repetitive for me. I got quite bored of it quite quickly. I mean, it looks cool. It looks cooler than what it plays, I think. But yeah, it was a little bit disappointing with that. The Ruiner. But I'm on a cyberpunk fucking vibe here.
Fair dues, yeah.
Right. The only game I didn't go and get was Cyberpunk, because I really don't know what that's like now. So I'm just on this Cyberpunk indie buzz. I went out and bought Dex. Have you played that? I think this has been out about 5 years. So this is like a Cyberpunk Metroidvania with a great story, some fantastic characters in this. I'm really getting sucked into this game. The combat's a little bit sluggish, a little bit Double Dragon, actually. I'm not enjoying the combat that much, but actually the whole world, the environments, the dialogue between characters is really cool. So it's got like a Blade Runner feel about it. I'm really on this Blade Runner vibe at the moment. I think they're going to release a Blade Runner game soon, aren't they? I don't know whether it's an old game or a new game, but I've seen like Limited Run bring up a pre-order for Blade Runner. And I'm thinking, what is that? I'll be all over that. So I just started sort of Googling sort of Cyberpunk Blade Runner games, and this come up, bought it. I'm actually really enjoying it, Dex. It's quite a cool game. It's been out for about 5 years, I think.
Okay.
So, yeah, enjoying that. Sultan's Sanctuary.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Played that. It's like a Dead Soul, 2D Dead Souls. I'm really enjoying this. It's Dead Souls. It's fucking hard. You're going to die a lot. But it's really cool. Really cool graphics, really atmospheric. Some really nice end of level bosses. It's just Dead Souls, man. You can sort of go where you want in it, but you know,
it's like a Dark Souls Metroidvania type.
It is
exactly
that. Exactly that.
There's a sequel as well, isn't there? I think that came out recently.
Oh, really?
Is there?
2, or whatever it is. Yeah, I think so.
Oh, I didn't know about that. Oh, well, I'm not going to get that yet. I need to finish this first, if I can finish it. I mean, it's not easy, you know.
Did you ever play Dead Cells?
Yes, I love Dead Cells. Yeah.
Yeah, which is
I'm
like
not
a
really
roguelike version, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm not really into roguelikes, but that was it because it was so fast paced, and when you died, you got straight back in the action again. It was fine, you know. It was fluid. It kept flowing the game, get you straight back into it. A little bit more powerful each time. I actually quite enjoyed that. But normally, I struggled with Hades. Everyone bangs on about Hades, but I struggled with that one. I don't know why. I think it was the viewpoint, maybe. I don't know. But everyone bangs on about Hades as being this amazing game. I couldn't get into that one.
Yeah, I couldn't get into Hades
Did you ever
either.
play Binding of Isaac?
Sorry, Darren?
Did you ever play like the Binding of Isaac?
I've got that. I haven't played it.
Yeah. That's a pretty fast-paced roguelike. Yeah, kind of. Parts of it remind me of Zelda. I suppose that's just because of the view, like the old sort of like Super Nintendo Zelda and stuff. But it's very weird and disturbing and strange.
Is it?
Yeah.
Well, I've got to give that a go. I do have a copy of it somewhere, so yeah, I will give it. I've got so many games to play. I've been picking up loads of Switch games and just playing bits of them, trying them out. Bit like this other one, Ender Lilies. Fuck knows how you pronounce that. Is it Quietus of the Nights?
Quietus of the Nights.
Of the Nights, Ender Lilies. So I like Metroid. It's one of my favourite games, one of my favourite franchises. So I do like Metroidvania type games. I mean, they've got a lot to live up to because Metroid for me is the best, always will be. Even as it Oxen Verge, I mean, I like that game, but still, it's not a touch on Metroid for me. This Ender Lilies caught my eye because the beautiful graphics and really atmospheric. You take on this little girl. I think she's like a spirit. I don't quite understand the story, whether she's dead or not, but she's got like a ghost that does the fighting for her. Quite a different fighting mechanic. So she doesn't fight. this ghost behind her fights for her. And it's quite cool the way it's done, although I don't like the way she rolls out of danger. It looks like she's tripping over. I don't like that kind of mechanic, but yeah, it's quite cool, but it's quite slow paced. It's a bit of a slog, you know. But what I've seen of it so far, it looks pretty. It is a beautiful looking game. It's just a lot slower than what I'm used to. So I don't know how much I'm going to get into this. But still, I like picking up these little indie games. They're quite nice, trying new ones out. What else have I been playing? Well, I picked up I'm going to go really retro on you now, guys. Really retro. You know me. That's why you get me on here, isn't it? For the
mate.
retro. So I went into Wantage, which is a local town to me. There's a really cool shop, actually. They got loads of retro stuff in there. Toys, Lego, you name it, Warhammer. And he had a Spectrum Plus 2 in there, boxed, like the big action pack set with the light gun and everything. And I thought, I never had one of those. I always had a 48K.
It's the first computer I ever owned. That.
Wow.
What, the Plus 2?
Plus 2. Yeah, Plus 2, yeah.
You didn't like it?
No, I quite liked it. I was a bit jealous of like my mates who had a Commodore at the time though, because there was always kind of this like rivalry between Spectrum and Commodore, and Commodore always had the more colourful graphics, whereas Spectrum used to be like black and another colour, pretty much with the graphics.
Yeah,
but because it was the Plus 2, 128K or whatever it was always at the time like, oh yeah, it's the more powerful of the systems, and it was, because technically it was almost twice the K of the 64, obviously. But there was only ever like a handful of games that ever used like the 128K, as far as I can remember.
Well, this is it, mate, because I grew up with 48K. I never owned the 128. I think it came out just as I left school. That's why I never got into Turtles. I left school in 87, so I kind of got out of gaming for about, until the SNES came along, 91. So I didn't game that much. I always had my Spectrum in the background, but I moved on to drinking and women, like all kids do when they leave school, music. So I missed out on 128, and a couple of my mates have been buying a lot of new homebrew games for it, and I'm quite impressed with what I've seen. And I thought, you know what, I'm gonna buy one, and I've hooked it up to my CRT, and I've been going through my old 48K games, and some of them have that 48K and 128 logo on the front of the cover, saying it's, you can play it on the 128 as well as the 48K, and some of them have got the enhanced sound. So it was quite interesting for me to go back and play some of the games that I grew up on with the enhanced sound. I've actually quite been enjoying it, actually, because it's got the tape deck as well. I haven't had to get a separate tape deck out like I used to have with the 48K and get all the volume and the tone right. This just fucking loads up straight away, and it's great. It really is cool.
How long do the games take to load on the old cassette tapes?
Quicker than
a long time.
Quicker than the Xbox One, put it that way.
Quicker than it takes to download a fucking game of Xbox, About 20 minutes?
No, 5 minutes is maximum for some of them. Depends how big they are, obviously. But for me, it's a ceremony. It's a nostalgia. The whole, I'll go and put the kettle on, make a cup of tea, and watch the loading screen. Oh, I remember the loading screen.
Little tactic we used to use at work. I found an old Spectrum cassette tape, and when I used to first start working at security, when there was a couple of us working, we used to get a ton of phone calls in the evening.
Yeah.
But we had a cassette player at work, so when people used to ring up, we used to just put the Spectrum game on and hold the receiver up to it until they hung up, and then because it sounds like they're just getting data down the phone, like weird data noises, like they're ringing the fax machine or something.
Yeah. It's beautiful, really. It's such a nostalgia trip. Having this, I absolutely love it. So I'm going back and playing a lot of early Julian Gollop games. Who, I don't know if you know Julian Gollop. He did the XCOM series. which I'm a huge fan of. I love the XCOM series, especially on the PS1. You know, Terror of the Deep and all that was brilliant. So he started out with games on the Spectrum, Rebel Star, and Chaos. So they're very early turn-based games, but they're brilliant. They're absolutely brilliant. You know, I have that on in the background. It's like a game of chess. You know, I do my move, do something else, it's still up on the screen, come back. Oh, he's moved there. You know, it's like, it's so cool. We just have it on in the background, playing like it's like it's like XCOM, early XCOM. It looks really primitive. You're going to look at it and think, fuck me, that is primitive. But the game is still there. The game is there and it's enjoyable. But yeah, I've been enjoying playing that on the Spectrum 128. So yeah, that's it really, guys.
Well, Venom has said to me that the Spectrum Plus 2 wasn't as good at playing copied games as the other Spectrum. Is that correct?
I don't know.
I don't know. I still had a few of those, like from back in the day. Like I definitely remember like having New Zealand Story and a few others off of friends. The only problem was it'd be bizarre because obviously cassette tapes back then were quite big and you could fit a lot of games on.
Right.
But you had to know whereabouts in the tape the game was. So generally, I'd just have one at the beginning of one side of the tape and then one at the beginning of the other side.
Yeah.
Obviously, this is not Sir Clive's baby, is it? This is when Amstrad took over, because when you load it up, it's got Amstrad.
Yeah, right, okay.
So he'd taken the company over by then.
Right, okay.
Which is quite interesting. And
there's the great that live version they did.
Sorry?
There was a version with a floppy disk, wasn't there?
Yeah, the microdrive. Yeah. Really interesting way of loading up a game on a tiny little cassette, really, wasn't it? Tiny. I don't know how it worked.
These were like the old floppy disks, you know, like the literal floppy disks.
Oh, the big ones.
The ones that were like quite big and square, not like the plasticky ones.
I don't know them. I know you could get a microdrive for the Spectrum, which was, you know, these tiny little, I don't know, little floppy disks, I guess, that you put in, and it would really quickly load the game up. Highly collectible now. And that one you're showing on the screen there, Webby, that's the grey model. I've got the black model, which I think the grey model is slightly more enhanced than my version.
Oh, really?
I think that one's made in England and mine's made in, I don't know, Taiwan. They, you know, had a factory out in the Far East somewhere. Well, I guess it was cheaper for them to make it out there.
Oh, okay.
I will say, though, out of all of the little home computers from back in the day, my favourite looking one was the 48K.
Yeah.
It was just nice and neat. It had those lovely rubber keys with all the coloured little numbers and stuff on it and everything.
Oh, yeah. Got so much love for 48K.
Bit still before my time, mate, unfortunately.
Yeah, but I mean, there's some good games on there, Webby. You know, I mean, if you can get over the early graphics, there are some solid games there. You know, but again, you know, if you've got no nostalgia for it, it probably wouldn't interest you.
No, I mean, my first computer was an Atari ST, so
right.
I think I was a little bit after that. No, God, no.
You wouldn't think of getting it back for a little nostalgia trip?
Nah, that really crappy green desktop.
Isn't there a mini version?
I don't know. I think there's an Amstrad mini.
There's minis of almost everything else, isn't there?
I mean, the only games I really remember from the Atari was Lotus Esprit Turbo Challenge. Oh, fucking love that game. Dizzy, Treasure Island Dizzy. I can't really remember much else from it, to be honest. I mean, I can picture some of the games, but I can't remember the names of them. There was one where you like this circle thing and you kept on running up a tower. I can't remember the name of it at all.
Daley Thompson's Decathlete.
Oh, brilliant that was.
That was when Ocean were like one of the best publishers of games back then.
I busted my keyboard playing that game because it was just what I used to do. Get a golf ball, and someone said to me, if you roll it over the two buttons, you get quicker, you know, movement.
That's almost like when you had the console games, obviously, when you actually had the joy pads and stuff come in the things rather than the joystick. and you get like a pencil or a pen, and you just have it in between two buttons and just lightly. I used to have a technique for that.
I had my Spectrum 48K for about a week, and I busted it because I don't know, something in me had to open it up and just see how this thing worked.
Oh.
Once I opened it up, I thought, why did I bother? Because I don't know, I haven't got a clue what any of this does. You know, I was looking for motors or something in there, and there was nothing like that. There was just a load of stuff in there I just couldn't stand.
I found the game. I just found the game on Google. I was on about Nebulous Tower Toppler for the Atari ST.
Oh, that looks familiar.
Yeah, you have to avoid all these things and get to the top of the tower and blow them up.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, I don't know why. I just been pictured in my mind as a game I really loved back when I was a kid. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, it's nice to revisit.
Friend of mine back in the day also had a Spectrum, and he was the person who got me into Bubble Bobble.
Oh, Bubble Bobble! What a game!
I'm still in contact with him now today. That friend, I've known him for 40 years now at least.
Bloody hell, that's really awesome, man.
He used to go around his house and we played 2-player Bubble Bobble and Renegade.
They bought a reissue of that out, didn't they, recently? We can get that on the Switch.
Oh, what's that, Bubble Bobble or Renegade?
Bubble Bobble.
Yeah, there's a new one, but it's like 30 quid or something.
Is it?
Yeah.
I
think
Dan it's a lot of money.
Yeah, I'm sure Dan picked it up, yeah.
Dan.
Anyway, well, what else you played, dude?
That's about it, mate. That is about it.
Fair dingles. Well, so what about you, Darren? I know you've been working a lot this week, so I can't imagine
not a great
much.
deal. The usuals for bits and bobs here and there.
Yeah.
I did download a demo for, is it like JoJo's Bizarre Adventure All-Star Battle R or something?
Right, okay.
Which is, there was a demo for it. I mean, I had one of them on the PS3 when it came out, and then they did one for the PS4 where it went to more of like an arena brawler rather than sort of like a 2D fighter with 3D aspects, as it were. A bit like sort of Tekken style, where there is 3D movement in the stage and that, but it just plays more like a 2D fighter, which I always find way more fun than 3D fighters, to be honest. And 3D brawlers are probably my least favourite. And I was pleased to find out that this is like an upgraded version of the first one I played, the one I actually liked.
Okay.
So this has sort of ended up on my list of games I'll possibly pick up when it comes out.
Nice.
But yeah, it's there. Finding the actual demo was a complete pain in the arse because I don't know what happened to PlayStation Store after they initially had one for the PS4. It's just been getting worse over the years, like finding stuff. And obviously on the PS5, it's completely bare bones, isn't it?
Yeah.
You don't even have a section for add-ons or anything like that. You've got to find all of that in your individual thing for the game itself. Yeah. When you go on the page or something, it's completely stupid, but there you go. But yeah, I had to go into a pre-order for the game and then click on the 3 dots, and then from that it has the demo, and you select the demo from that to download.
Right. Weird.
It's just absolutely bizarre. Yeah, I'm not a fan of the storefronts on either console, to be honest, but PlayStation has the worst one for sure when it comes to that. Pleasantly surprised. And the other thing I did, I had a bit of free time, so I thought I'd reinstall a game that I hadn't finished because it's obviously had a patch within the last couple of months that basically brings it up to the 60 FPS and all the rest of it. And that was Assassin's Creed Origins.
Old school, mate. And it's like classed as retro now, isn't it?
You'd think so, but if someone told me this game had come out this week, I wouldn't like I wouldn't go against it. It still looks fantastic, looks and plays fantastic. Even like, and it's like what, 5 years old now, maybe more. I'm not sure.
It's quite old now, isn't it? Yeah, around that. Yeah.
But it still completely holds up. It's reinforced to me again that Valhalla is the worst combat that they've ever had in an Assassin's Creed game.
I quite like the combat in Valhalla, to be honest.
It's all right. It's just nowhere near as precise as it was in, obviously, Origins and Odyssey, and you're kind of missing a lot of those brutal finishes and stuff you used to get.
Okay.
From some of the old AC games, like, do you remember, like when you'd get like the multi assassinations or chain assassinations and stuff,
and
they'd play out all these fantastical animations, and that all of that's obviously gone in the new ones. And like, yeah, you can take a limb off here or a head off there or whatever, but I don't know, it just feels more precise, more controllable. Because half the time in the new one, it's all about like whichever direction you're pushing on the analog stick is where your character will attack.
Yeah.
That's the idea anyway. As people with certain weapons have probably found out, trying to smash the piles of rocks to get metal and having your character just whiff every time, even though you're completely pushing in the right direction.
Fair enough.
But pretty much it. Those two. I think they were doing a free play weekend on Assassin's Creed, but it might have actually ended on Origins.
Oh, okay.
Because they had a stream earlier in the week. I think it was this week, anyway.
I'm sure
Origins
sort of
talking about
has hit Game Pass now. I'm pretty sure.
Quite possibly. I mean, the good thing is I never did any of the DLCs for Origins, and I've heard from people who played it that those DLCs were really good.
Ah, so you can go back and give them a
it's currently on. Yeah, it's currently on sale at the moment, like 85% off the season pass for it. So I will probably pick that up.
Nice. That's good. Awesome, mate. Is everything from you? Is it already?
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay,
I have got another game on the Switch, but I haven't played it yet. It came through from Play Asia. I think it's like Mario Pirates H or something.
Ooh.
Sounds crazy Japanese.
Is that shooter stroke RPG?
7 Pirates H it's called. But I believe it's part of like the Mario Pirates Chronicles and stuff.
Yeah, I have seen that. It's RPG,
where
isn't
they're
it?
kind of like, it's like an RPG, but it's got like the typical sort of over the top Japanesey sort of fan servicey stuff in it and things.
Yeah.
But yeah, they did East Asia. Is it East Asia Soft? Yeah, bringing a load of those games out and doing physical copies for them and stuff. So that's pretty cool. So I think that's the second or third release I've got from them for the Switch.
Yeah, Play Asia's the place to go, isn't it, mate? For a lot of this stuff, it's a lot comes out a lot quicker.
Is that where you've got some of your physical?
Well, yeah, fucking Rocky Reshrined that came out.
Oh yes, yeah.
Came out a month before Limited Run. Well, I don't think they've even come out on Limited Run yet. Still waiting for a lot of it. Yeah, and actually some of Play Asia stuff has got more content on than Limited Run.
Oh, okay.
I don't know why. Yeah, so you got to.
I've heard the American version's a bit cut out. There's all these parts missing or something.
Yeah, you've got to do a bit of research before you buy these physical copies because do miss some shit out. Some of these companies. I don't know why Limited Run get all of these licensed games. It should be anyone. I think Turtles Limited Run have got it, but that's got a release sort of what do you call it? You can get it anywhere.
Right.
Not just through Limited Run. You can buy it anywhere. I think with that Turtles game.
Okay.
Which is good.
Yeah.
Because those limited runs usually sell out pretty quick.
Yeah,
and
they
then,
do.
The price goes right up.
And they end up on eBay. Yeah.
Takes months to get them as well. Although I do like I've seen that they've got a physical shop now, Limited Run in America. They've got
that's cool.
one shop, and I see some guy did a walk round tour of it on YouTube, and a lot of these games that are really expensive now because they just did small runs, they've actually got in the shop. So there was like copies of Sharpay Pirate's Curse, which is crazy money now on the Switch. They had that in there. It's games they've had in the warehouse that have got a slight bit of damage, maybe. They just can't send them out. So they're giving them a people discount. I mean, the queues round the block to get in this shop were mad.
Wow.
As you can imagine.
Yeah.
It's probably because everyone was trying to get hold of these super rare games that they could hopefully flog on online for ridiculous prices.
The stunties of the world.
Yeah.
All right, cool. Well, I'm gonna get into what I've been playing then. Yeah. So I've been doing the usual Call of Duty Vanguard. Don't really want to mention more on that, to be honest. Still playing Gran Turismo 7. Been having some good times on that with Venom and Laffa as per usual. So that's been really fun. Been messing around with the liveries a bit more. You know, putting the 360G logo on all my cars and bits and pieces, and just spending a bit more time, quite a lot of time, to be honest, just decking my cars out in fancy stickers and things instead of actually racing them. But yeah, still having a lot of fun playing online on Gran Turismo. Really enjoying it. So that's really good. Absolutely loving it still. I think I'll be playing that until the new Forza comes out, and then I might bin this off. Who knows? But just talking about racing games as well. So I've been playing Formula 1 2021. I'm still really enjoying it. I'm still really enjoying it, actually. And I know the new one's out in about 2 weeks' time. However, this
still Codemasters.
Yeah, well, it's EA, isn't it? Because EA bought out Codemasters last year, right? But I think this was made before EA bought them out, so it'll be interesting to see what the new one is like. I mean, I have noticed that the new game is 60 quid absolutely everywhere. So, I mean, I'm absolutely loving F1 2021. I think it's great, but I'm not prepared to shell out 60 quid for the new game when it comes out, because I know that in 6 months or so, the next game will hit Game Pass through EA Access anyway. So that just really puts me off spending, a large sum of money on a game. And also, but because I really like Gran Turismo, that's my main racing game. I know that this would, I'd spend money on this and then it would kind of sit in the background. But F1 2021, though, I've been playing some of the career mode, which is actually quite well done, because you're not just racing. You spend time like researching upgrades for your car, and you have the little media things where your responses affect like your teammate, your team, or other drivers. And the game isn't super easy depending on the settings you put it on. And you can make it like the races as long or short as you want. You can have just 5-lap races if you want, and there's all sorts of weather as well. And I've also been playing it a little bit online as well, though, to be fair, just because I wanted to see what that was like. And what I have found is I can't find a game at all in unranked. I've tried it on, it's got different ones like beginner, intermediate, or serious. I've tried all of them in unranked, cannot find a game. Go into ranked and you can find a game. But it's quite hit or miss, because sometimes you get chucked into a server that's like halfway through a race. You've got to wait for the next race, and then half the people just leave anyway. But the way the online works is you do 1 lap to qualify, and that's it. And then you get into the race, and it has full damage and everything on. So if someone punches you off on the first corner, that's your race over.
You're out.
Yeah. Which is a little bit frustrating. But I got into a couple of decent lobbies the other evening. I was up quite late at night. I couldn't get to sleep, so I was just playing a bit of F1 online, and I got into a couple of good lobbies and had some good races actually. It was a lot of fun, but you know, it just doesn't compare for me. It just doesn't compare to the quality of Gran Turismo 7. So you know, that's another reason why I'm just kind of like, oh, I don't want to shell out the money for the new F1 game. So yeah, I
It
mean,
looks stunning, mate.
yeah, the graphics are good. So, oh yeah, so I did want to mention actually. So, just talking about F1 2021, I'll just digress into another small subject. I went out and picked up an Xbox Series S today. So, as you know, I've got an Xbox Series X, but I wanted a Series S just for upstairs to go next to my PC, just because there's a couple of games that I can't play on my PC through Game Pass. One of them is MLB The Show, which I've just stopped talking about in the podcast because I know you lot are just bored of it. So I'd still play it, but I just don't talk about it. And Forza Horizon 5 because it just doesn't run great on my PC. So yeah, so
I'm surprised you didn't just buy the S and swap that around and put your X upstairs.
See, I was thinking about that. Like, there was some debates in my mind because you know, I don't think the missus would notice any difference on Sea of Thieves, but I do sit downstairs on the big telly and game every so often as well. And because like my big TV is 4K, yeah, I thought, well, the Series X is better suited to that TV, whereas my monitor does 4K. Well, it's a 1440p monitor, but it does 4K, you know, but it downscales it. So I thought, well, if I have the Series S upstairs, it makes more sense because I still play most of my Game Pass games on my PC anyway. It's just I just wanted it for the Series S just for a couple of games, and that's it. So it just makes more sense to have the Series S upstairs, to be honest. So, I just want to give a quick rundown of my thoughts on the Series S, and which is why I'm kind of transferring from F1 2021 because I've been playing it on the Xbox. So, I've obviously been playing it on the Series X and it looks really nice on there, really, really smooth and crisp. And then I put it on my Series S, and it looks fucking shit on the Series S. It looks like a last gen game on the Series S. I was like, what's wrong with my eyes? It looks like I think on the Series S it runs at 1080p because it just looks like really blurry. Like it just doesn't look smooth at all. So it's a little bit. So playing that on the Series S is actually a little bit.
With your settings properly, or
Yeah, I've done all my settings because I'm going to go onto you know, I've been testing it out on some other games, but F1 2021 looks absolutely awful on the Series S compared to the Series X. So that's like there's actually a really big difference there. But I did actually also try Forza Horizon 5 on the Series S, and that actually looks really nice. There isn't actually, in my opinion, a lot of difference between that and the Series X. You know, and that's because I run it on performance mode on both, and it looks pretty similar, to be honest. So that's good. And then I tried Call of Duty Vanguard, and Call of Duty Vanguard, you can put it on the 120 hertz setting on the Series S, and that looks decent as well. Not really a big difference between the two systems on Call of Duty Vanguard for the multiplayer. So I'm actually quite, you know, so in some aspects I'm quite impressed with the Series S because most of the games I've played don't actually, there's not much of a downgrade, but in some games like F1 2021 there is actually quite a big visual difference. So I think it just depends on the game, and I think the Microsoft studio games are going to look better on the S because, you know, it's their baby, it's their system, and they want them to look as good as possible on the S. But I do think the S is a decent little system, but I am disappointed with it in a few elements. One is that obviously the difference in some of the games, but also the hard drive space is absolutely atrocious. So, picked up the Series S. It says it's got 512 gigabytes of storage, but your actual usable storage on this is 364 gig.
So that's about 5 games, if you're lucky.
If that. So I've got 4 games installed. So I've got Call of Duty Vanguard, 4 Formula 1. I can't remember the other games actually. I put it this way. I want to I wanted to install Call of Duty Warzone, and I can't put it on my system. It won't fit. So it's that is really that is the one thing that's really pissed me off, because I was expecting 500 gig of storage, and I've actually got 364 gig, which is fucking god awful. It really, really is. That's like, if you wanted, like, because Warzone, if you wanted Warzone, like Call of Duty Modern Warfare and Warzone, I think that's like 130 gig or something, just on its own. Because I've got Forza on there, that's 100 gig. Vanguard's like 80 gig. F1 is 80 gig. I've nearly filled up the hard drive just with those games. Yeah. So.
Right, you can spend 380 quid on a 2 terabyte.
Not happening. It's not happening. But I mean, I do have an external hard drive with all my Xbox One games on anyway, so that's like plugged into it as well, just for the older titles. But yeah, that's just a little bit.
That's fine, but you just don't get the load times off.
Yeah. But apart from those negatives, I think as a second system in your house, just for like Game Pass games, it's actually quite a solid system. Obviously, it doesn't have a disk drive or anything like that, so it's great because you can share your Game Pass between 2 systems, right? So my Series X is my home console, which is downstairs, so I just log into my profile on the Series S and I can play all my games on that anyway. So so it's basically just a Call of Duty machine, to be honest, and baseball, because everything else I just play on my PC anyway. So but yes, it's so tiny. It's a tiny little box. It really, really is. So but I think if I had it as my main Xbox, I would be really disappointed, to be honest.
Yeah.
So if you don't have an Xbox, a next gen Xbox yet, and you're thinking of the S, I just bite the bullet and go for the Series X. It's so much better. Obviously, just with the storage on, over double the storage, and just the graphical fidelity on the games, etc. Because I do think as the years go on, you are going to see more of a difference between the 2 systems.
Future-proofing as well.
Yeah. So I mean, but for me at the moment, it's great just to play those couple of games, like, because I'm going to get the new COD, and and probably what I'll do is I'll end up playing the campaign on the big telly downstairs, and I'll just end up playing the multiplayer on the S, upstairs, when the missus wants a telly downstairs, and it's just great for those situations, right? So yeah, so I just wanted so that's what I wanted to mention on that. Yeah, so the other few games I've been playing Pacman Museum, which I'm still absolutely loving, just to dip in and out of it every now and again. That's just what I want to mention on that. Played some.
Has that got like the latest Pac-Man on that, Webby? Was it Championship one?
It's not got the latest Championship edition. It has the one before that. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So that's
a lot of fun, that one, isn't it?
It is fun. Yeah. I mean, I've got it. I've got it anyway, so I'm not missing out on anything. So, but yeah. I just wanted to mention. Yeah. So I've also been playing. I jumped back on Sea of Thieves this week. So with my missus, Frosty, Brewski, a few others. There's 5 of us on. So we managed to glitch the system and get 2 ships on again, and we had a blast just doing some submissions and stuff, and it was just fun because I hadn't played it in ages, so it was really good to get some 5-player co-op going on
Nice.
Sea of Thieves this week. So that was really, really good. And the last couple of games I've been playing are a little bit older titles, just because, well, the first one I haven't finished, which is the Evil Within 2. And
great! How you getting on with it?
Yeah, I'm absolutely loving it. So it's really, really weird that it's taken me this long to properly start playing it, because absolutely loved the original Evil Within. You know, it was one of my favorite games on the Xbox One, I think it came out on. Yeah, and I remember I bigged it up massively.
It's on the 360.
Was it on the 360? Oh my god, that is a long time ago.
Yeah, it was on the 360.
Yeah, so it was one of my favourite games back then. You know, and then just Evil Within 2 came out, and just never, I don't know. Well, I never picked up when it came out officially, and then obviously it came out on Game Pass, and I downloaded it, and just never really got into it. Just never got around to it. And then I started playing, and I was talking to Peeps, and he was like, "Oh, you got to get on it." I was like, "All right, mate." And yeah, so I'm only like a couple of levels in now. I've got to the open world area, you know, and exploring around and stuff. There's a section where there's like some wimpy bloke who let someone who was saving him die, and he just ran away like a pussy. And now I've got to help him do some stuff. But yeah, it's quite freaky, actually, to be honest. But yeah, I am really liking it.
Resident Evil 4-ish in its like play style and everything. It reminds me of like RE4 mixed with like slight open world with kind of light psychological horror.
Yeah.
Not quite to the point of Silent Hill, but it's got unsettling imagery and stuff like that.
Yeah, it is quite unsettling. It's really weird because it's quite a bit of stealth involved as well, because you're in the open world and there's all these like zombie creatures, and if you don't want to be attacked by a big horde of them, you've got to sneak around in bushes and sneak up behind them and take them down silently. But it is quite freaky.
That's an
because,
option. Like, you can go in guns blazing and stuff. Like,
yeah, but I don't really want
nice
to.
You get given the options. No, you don't when you're early on.
No, but yeah, I mean, as you're saying, like, it is quite psychological, because the beginning of the game, I was freaked out, man, because you're funneled through this area, but it gets all kind of twisted up, if that makes sense. Like, the areas go all weird, like the long corridor style things you see in the movies, and the twisted areas and stuff, and the music. It's just like, yeah, it's quite freaky, but yeah, I'm going to stick with it because I'm actually really enjoying it, and it is one of those games that I wanted to get
way
through.
better.
Yeah,
it
excellent.
Gets way better as it goes on as well.
Yeah,
more freaky, more bizarre. Some really good boss designs as well in that
excellent.
game.
That's good to hear. So,
has it got a has it actually had an upgrade patch, or is it just as it would have been?
I don't think so.
The One X?
I mean, I'm playing on PC, Game Pass, so I mean, it looks nice anyway.
Decent enough, yeah.
Yeah, so...
But there is you will enjoy that has actually got a new game plus mode to it, I believe. So you can go through it with all your like powered up abilities and stuff.
That's very Resident Evil.
You sit in the chair, don't you, and get your abilities powered up and stuff.
Yeah.
And you can level up your weapons, if I recall, as well. And
yeah,
can go back and bring the pain.
Bring the pain, baby. Excellent. Yeah, so yeah, I'm enjoying that. And the other game, I've got two. There's one I didn't write down. So, but I'm going to do that in a second. So, I started playing. I need to stop playing so many fucking games. Spec Ops The Line. And I know this game is well old.
Right, you went way back.
I know. So the reason I started playing this is because I saw an article on it about how great this game was back in the day, and I couldn't remember if I've played it or not. And on the PC,
you must have played it.
Well, this is what Stanley was saying to me. He's like, "You must have played it. It's an Xbox 360 title." But you know, on
probably one of the biggest ones of that year.
Yeah. So, but the thing is, right? On the Xbox app on the PC, when you go to your Chivos, you can actually start typing in the game and it brings up the games you've got Achievos on. And this game doesn't come up. But I have had this before where I've tried to type in other games where I've played and they haven't come up, so I don't think it's 100% accurate. However, I played
registered or found it.
Yeah, but I played through the first mission and I was like, I don't remember this, so I'm not sure if I have played it or not. Because correct me if I'm wrong, like it starts off as a third-person shooter game, but doesn't it go off into more tactical? Be like, am I thinking of a different game? Was the whole game just first-person shooter?
Sort of. It's a very.
I know it's got a really good story. I mean, that's
kind of game. Yeah, I mean, there's a certain part in the game where it completely turns.
Yeah, the white phosphorus.
Like, and you're kind of like, are we really doing the right thing here?
Yeah. Yeah, and this is why I wanted to give it a go, just because I wasn't sure if I played it or not. And I'd already had it in my library on Steam anyway.
Nolan North, isn't it?
Is it? Okay.
I believe is the main character.
Because when I started playing it, I was thinking to myself, oh yeah, like the whole game must be a third-person shooter, but there was another military game, and I can't remember the name of it, where you don't play, like you just order your dudes around, and that's the game I was thinking of, and I can't remember the name of it. So it's like, it's an art, like it's a military.
Clancy's End thingy, or was like that, wasn't it?
I don't know. There's a really old military game where you don't you're not shooting or anything, like you order your team where to go in kind of a not a third person but like a different view where you can kind of see the side of them or whatever, and I just can't remember the name of it, and that's the game I was actually thinking of before I started playing this. But yeah, I don't remember playing this at all anyway, so I'm probably gonna carry on with it.
Speaking of squad games,
yeah,
can we have a Brothers in Arms again, please?
Oh, I love Brothers in Arms. It's one of my favourite games of all time, man. Yeah. Yeah, man. So, yeah, I mean, this game still holds up quite well. I mean, I was playing it on PC, and I know it's really old now, but it still looks actually quite decent, I felt, when I was playing it. So, yeah.
It's got to be a good 13 or 14 years old, isn't it?
Yeah.
Maybe.
Something like that.
I don't know.
But yeah, it's still cool. And another game that's quite old that I started playing this week is Dragons Dogma. Dark Arisen.
I'm not surprised if this is on sale on all of the stores at the moment, I believe.
Well, I got it for free, and I'll tell you how. So it's on sale on the Xbox store for £2.99p.
And fucking absolute bargain, that.
Yeah,
like,
and
less than a pint.
And Xbox sent me a message saying that they deposited a £4 worth of credit into my account because they're doing that to random people at the moment. So I was like, right, I've got £4. I'm going to buy Dragons Dogma now. Now I can see it's on sale. So
yeah, I tried that years ago. I couldn't get into it. It was a bit slow.
I loved it. So a lot of us in the community played it originally on the Xbox 360. And I
ended up on the podcast.
Yeah, well, yeah, and we all loved it. I mean, Dan had his porn Techno Tracy, which was way OP, which we all used to bring into our worlds.
Lost in the ether.
Yeah, but yeah, this has been kind of, rezzed up rezzed. So it looks a little bit better. And obviously it's got all new Chivos as well. So I thought, oh, right, I might as well pick it up. And I started playing it. I was up till like 2 a.m. playing it. And, oh, mate, it looks quite dated, but it's really weird because as I was playing it, it felt like an early kind of Dark Souls type game in a weird way. Because
it takes inspiration from quite a few different genres of game. There's definitely Monster Hunter in there. There's a little bit of You could say like Dark Souls in there. There's a little bit of Dungeons and Dragons in there.
Yeah, like, because what it takes from Monster Hunter is you can climb on the bigger enemies and then whack them. And the thing that I felt with Dark Souls type is just the way that the way you attack, it just felt very similar. And then also when you get into the open world, it feels, I don't know, I've just got that vibe. Yeah, but what's quite interesting about
it's easy to wander into high level areas as well and get destroyed if you don't.
Well, it's just easy to get lost because, like, even in that beginning town, it's like, oh, you better buy some items to make your life a bit easier. And I was like, well, I'm looking at the map and I don't know where any of the shops are because there's all these buildings and none of them are labelled. They only get labelled once you go in them. So you need to explore.
Exactly. I got lost. I got completely lost just in the beginning.
Their masterwork tool, you can't go wrong.
That's it. So so I can see why you got lost at Alex. But so this is quite interesting because I got into the open world and you get and it's just kind of like, I like the way the game progresses in this weird way with the pawn system, because you start off and you get a random pawn. It's like, oh, let's go and visit this area where all the pawns come, and then obviously later on you get the ability to make your own and bring them in, and you can summon in other players' pawns, make your job a lot easier in the game, right? And it's just such a cool gameplay mechanic, I think, that hasn't been done since. And I think sometimes going back to these old games, it does, like, sometimes I go back to these old games, I think, oh, these gameplay systems are so cool, why hasn't it been done again? It's like one of the classic ones I think of is Ghost Recon Advanced Warfighter, where when you're playing the multiplayer, you have a camera on the corner and you can flick between all your teammates. I've never seen that in a game as well, and that game is fucking well old. So there's all these old gameplay mechanics which I think are fantastic, and just no one else has done them, and I just find that odd.
Is it because the game is smaller? Because games are getting so big now, with the Elden Ring and stuff. They just make it too big, and it loses a bit of the combat and the magic of it, like you're describing here. This game looks right up my street, and I did try it.
Yeah,
I got lost in the beginning.
Yeah,
but I can see.
Yeah, if you take the wrong road early on, there's a pathway, I believe, that you carry on straight on towards like one of the first 40 areas. But if you turn left, you can go up a path that basically takes you into like a mid-game area, where like everyone is there, like sort of like level maybe 30s and up. Maybe I'd suggest to go there, and you can get destroyed pretty easily if you head in the wrong direction. But
it's like an MMO, isn't it? It's just one of those games. Like, I just got such a big nostalgia hit when I started playing it, because I've got such fond memories of everyone and like all of my mates in the community, like Peebs and Dan and Colin and various other people. We were all playing it at the same time, and we're all talking about it. And I was one of the last people in our kind of group to finish it. And I remember getting to the end, and I didn't know what to do. And there's a certain thing you've got to do to finish the game, where you have to figure it out on your own. I think that's what gave the game quite a lot of its magic, because you think of Elden Ring, where a lot of the conversation in the Discord and between people on social media came from people doing everything different and just giving each other tips. This was kind of that game of that era, because it's so open-ended. There's so many different ways of playing it. It doesn't hold your hand at all. And that's where that magic is in that game as well. And as I say, it was just really nice to kind of just go back and experience that game, because it's been so long since I played it. I've forgotten most of it, to be honest. And it was just sitting there back and enjoying that beginning with the dragon and stuff. I was like, oh man, this is so cool.
It's in my kind of imaginary room of games that did almost every aspect of it perfectly.
Yeah.
Where there wasn't really a single part of that game I didn't like. I liked the open world. I liked the combat. Like the magic and stuff in it is done for, like, you look like an absolute beast casting some of those spells as a magician.
Yeah.
And whatnot. The music is amazing as well. Like the characters, the world, and the feel of it all.
Yeah.
Like, it was just a really good job. And obviously, because we'll probably cover it in the news, there was an event that was this week, which was like a 10-year celebration of the game.
Yeah, and that's one of the reasons why I wanted to start playing this again.
Yeah, there was all this love for it all over social media, and I was kind of like, I know a lot of people quite liked it, but it seems like a hell of a lot of people loved this game when it came out.
Yeah.
Because it hit all of those different notes that other games were doing. There were people who were fans of the Monster Hunter franchise that saw the blatant Monster Hunter in this. There were fans of like westernized RPGs and D&D that liked that aspect of this. Like, because it's a very Western style game, like from a Japanese developer, very much similar to how Dark Souls is still very westernized for a Japanese developer.
Yeah.
I mean, there's certain monsters straight out of D&D that are in it, like beholders and stuff.
Yeah.
So...
this is just up my street. I'm just looking on my Switch to see if I had it on there, but I don't think I've definitely played it before. Where did I play it? It must have been on the Switch. I'll have to pick up another copy of it because it sounds right. I mean, I love the D&D.
Yeah, world. you can only ever really get the Dark Arisen version now.
Yeah.
I believe, but I did get both.
Yeah, it's because during this anniversary of it, they announced that the sequel is now in development. There's no release date for it, so I think it's just got a little bit of that hype up. And for me, I was like, oh yeah, they've announced the second one. I want to replay the first one again.
Yeah,
I mean, it's kind of gutting that we didn't get to see anything because, like I was saying to someone else, it would have been nice just to see a little tease of kind of what we'll expect, like visually from it, what they're kind of going for, and maybe even a tease for the story, because the whole story of the original Dragons Dogma is kind of all wrapped up in a neat little package.
Yeah.
I don't really want to say too much because it completely ruins the game. But it almost feels like a one and done.
Yeah.
It'd be interesting to see what they're going to try and do with the story from that, or maybe do it in a different location with a similar kind of thing going on. I don't know, or maybe even continuing on further, because there's a few sort of characters in the game that aren't particularly well fleshed out per se. And again, it was cool to see yourself or the character you create sort of basically embroiled in this interesting storyline that's kind of going on, with your character being in like all the cutscenes and all the rest of it, like really feeling like you're part of the world that's presented.
Yeah, most definitely. I'm just wondering with the sequel if they're going to do it like a Final Fantasy, where it's just a completely new game, new story, just with the
we'll talk about that in a bit.
Okay. Yeah, well, that's all I've played. So, I mean, we can hop straight into the news section.
Yeah, we can roll into that. Yeah,
because I've got, obviously we've had a few, we've had a couple of events this week again, haven't we? That we're going to talk about. So, yeah, if you roll into the Dragons Dogma stuff, Darren, that would be amazeballs.
Oh, we've just talked about it, haven't we? It was just like the event that was pretty much a build up. It was kind of the interesting thing about that, Alex, if you actually watch it, is like it's only like a 10-minute show, but it was one of the blokes from Capcom coming on, and he was basically talking about all of the arcades and stuff and the games that they were working on at the time, kind of pushing a little bit of their Capcom fighting connection. And he was basically saying as soon as the graphics from home consoles basically caught up to arcades, they split into two divisions, where one group was working on arcades and then another group was working on the home console. And then slowly over time, they decided to develop more towards the home console market and move away from the arcades.
That makes sense.
Yeah, but you see some classic good old arcade games that they sort of like flip through, like Rival Schools and is it Star Blazer or something like that? I'm trying to remember. It was quite.
Doesn't ring a bell. What, a shooter?
No, it was a fighting game. I'm probably completely getting
it wrong. Is this part of their Arcadia release they're doing, is it? Because they're doing another package.
They were. Yeah, I think they were kind of just basically like getting a little bit of that in there, but it's sort of explaining how it all came about, the development.
Yeah.
But I thought that was quite interesting. They talked about the company moving from obviously the arcades and being really prevalent in the arcades, like one of the biggest game makers across the world.
They were, mate.
They start moving into.
Yeah, it was
like,
Konami. Capcom and Konami made some of the best games in the arcade back in the day. They really did. You know, there's always that who was best. You know, Capcom for fighters, Konami probably more for shooters and side-scrolling beat-em-ups. I don't know. Well, and that Capcom made some side-scrolling beat-em-up.
If you're talking for innovation when it comes to arcades, I'm sorry, I've got to go with Sega on that front.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, they
the
were
interactive arcades and like the 3D technology they brought in, the AM2 stuff, and
I mean, Sega were probably more known for their kind of super scaling games, weren't they? Like Outrun, Hang On, Space Harrier, you know, all those type of games, and they had all really cool dedicated cabinets. Whereas Capcom, they did make dedicated cabinets, but obviously their thing where they got really big was when it came to sort of Jammer, you know, the CPS boards, which were compatible with Jammer. You know, with the Dungeons and Dragons series. So many fucking cool Capcom games. But still, a lot of those games are still haven't been ported to any console. You know, there's loads of companies like that. There's so many fucking great games out there that are still just arcade exclusives.
They did announce, didn't they, like Capcom Arcade Volume 2 or something?
Yes,
so they're going to be bringing more of their titles across, so you'll hopefully get, like, they probably did it already, but one of my old sort of lesser well-known fighting games from sort of like obviously the era was Knights of the Round.
Yeah, brilliant game. Yeah,
because
I love
you actually leveled up as you played through it, which I thought was really cool. Like your character got more armor, and then the armor changed color, and as you sort of
you must have
progressed
liked
through
Dungeons and Dragons then? Did you like Dungeons and Dragons where you had like the little ring?
I very rarely played it. Yeah, I think I only played it a couple of times.
It's got branching paths. You've got like a little button you can press, and it brings like a ring up where you've got spells that and potions that you've picked up along your way, which you can choose to fire, which is great. It's nothing worse than a beat 'em up, you know, where Streets of Rage, for example, you've got a special move and it just takes your health away whenever you use it. It's like,
just annoying, yeah.
What's the fucking point of that? Whereas this, they did away with all that. They gave you potions, man. Stuff that you open chests. Now, there could be a trap there. It could be like a poisonous gas that comes out the chest, or they loot gold potions. You know, you get a little shop at the end of the level. Then you've got a branching path. Dungeons and Dragons for me, and Alien vs Predator.
AVP. That AVP, I don't think we'll ever see because of licensing issues, which is a damn shame because that is a really fun game.
It is.
Cadillacs and Dinosaurs as well, very interesting and a colourful game as well. It reminds me a lot of like Punisher, which I believe they did as well.
Yeah, and Undercover Cops, classic. Did you like Undercover Cops?
Yeah, I've played that. Yeah.
When you get the robot underneath that lift, that's so satisfying. It was a bastard to get that robot under that lift. Because at the end of the level, there's a robot and there's a lift that comes down, and the only way to get off that level, because he's a hard bastard to kill, you've literally got to kick him and time it so that when the lift comes down, it crushes him. Like like the end of the Terminator. They've taken it out of the Terminator film, you know, where he gets crushed in the factory. It's just like that. It's just so satisfying. But 9 times out of 10, he throws you under the bus and you get underneath the lift. So it's like a battle to get the other person under the lift and get it crushed. I love that game.
Yeah. I believe Dungeons and Dragons did eventually end up on like the 360 and maybe the PlayStation as well.
It came out on the Saturn, very expensive.
Yeah, Saturn was the one I remember. Yeah.
I don't remember
Japanese
this on the
import.
Xbox 360 at all. But
you can get it on the Switch. I think you can get it on Arcade Archives.
it is on
Dungeons
Xbox
Dragons.
though. You are right. I've just found a video on YouTube. So
yeah, was it a collection, the Dungeons and Dragons collection? Because it was at least 2 games.
It looks fucking awful, man.
games.
It looks so bad.
What, Dungeons and Dragons?
Yeah, graphics look so. Oh my god, so bad.
It's not. What game are you looking at? That's not it.
It says Dungeons and Dragons Xbox. No?
Yeah, that's a different game. No, we're talking
Is
about
it the Capcom one? It's got to be the Capcom one.
It's got to be Capcom.
Dark Alliance.
Beat 'em up.
Dungeons and Dragons Heroes.
Capcom. It's got to be Tower of Doom or Shadow of Mysteria.
Is it this one?
No, you don't. I can see that Dungeons and Dragons. I remember that one. That was like Baldur's Gate.
Oh, it doesn't matter. Anyway, should we get back into the rest of the news before we run out of time?
Yeah. You got it up.
Yeah. So yeah, that was that. So eventually at the end of it all, it was like, yeah, we're making Dragons Dogma 2, which we all knew, but that could mean the game's still 2 years off, 3 years off, maybe more.
Yeah.
Who knows? But at least it's been worked on, so that kept people happy.
Yeah.
And then obviously, if you wanna see that little ring that comes up around the character. Where you just missed it. You can choose all the potions, different weapons. There's so much to it, so much depth to that arcade game. We've never seen anything like it.
Do you know one Capcom game I never really got on with? Although I did kind of like it, but I didn't like it as much as everyone else did. Magic Sword.
Yeah, it was a bit of a weird one. That you could choose what level you started on and stuff, couldn't you?
Weird.
And you had like different companions.
Yeah. Yeah, it was a weird one, that one, wasn't it?
Right, can we move on? I want to move on to the Square Enix event.
Yeah, move on to the Square Enix, mate. Go for it.
All right, so they did announce a load of phone games, which I really wasn't that bothered about, to be honest.
2.
Yeah, which is a load in my opinion.
It was an update for Final Fantasy First Soldier.
Yeah.
Which even people I know that are into mobile phone games all groaned when that come up, because I don't think it's supposed to be that good.
Yeah. And then I forget the name of it now because I kind of skipped past it. There's one that they're doing like, because it's basically Final Fantasy VII 25-year anniversary at the moment. So I announced that 7 Remake is coming, is now out on Steam, and you can now play it on the Steam Deck. There's still no announcement for Xbox. I don't think it's ever going to come to the Xbox, to be honest. But they're bringing out I'm just trying to find the name of it. Final Fantasy VII and Crisis Core on the phone is in like a package called Ever Crisis. That's it. Final Fantasy VII Ever Crisis, and it's only on the mobile phone, iOS and Android. So I won't be playing it, but it's just done in like kind of cutesy, kind of chibly graphics. So if that's how you want to play your games,
but yeah, the funny thing is like when it gets to the actual combat. Yeah. They look like they've taken more of a stylized approach of like the remake.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
made it look a bit more interesting, and obviously they're going to be making a fair bit of money off of like costumes and stuff, because you see like Tifa and Aerith dressed up in like different outfits and stuff.
Yeah. So they're going to be making some money off that mobile game, that's for sure. But the biggest news for me, which I was really happy about, is the announcement.
Well, there was 2, weren't there? They were quite big.
Yeah, well, there's one. Yeah, but I'm like the one that I'm most excited about because everyone we knew was coming. They're doing a remaster of Crisis Core, which I'm so happy about because Crisis Core has only ever been released on the PSP. I've got it on the PSP.
Yeah, sorry, someone said that's 2 PSP only games that have got console and computer releases within just a week of each other.
Well, what was the other one? Cause
Persona 3 port.
Oh yeah, Persona 3. Yeah, so
and obviously Crisis Core.
Yeah, so Crisis Core, I absolutely loved it. And so if you're a Final Fantasy VII fan, like I am a hardcore fan, it's one of your, well, for me, it's a great game because it is a direct prequel to Final Fantasy VII, and it actually clears up a lot of the story stuff in relation to Cloud, as to why he is.
Characters.
Yeah, so I mean, you learn. So basically, not giving spoilers here, like Crisis Core ends where 7 starts, which is a really cool way for it to end, because throughout Final Fantasy VII you learn about this character called Zack, and that Cloud has his sword and is kind of taken on his identity. So Crisis Core, you play through the whole game as Zack. Cloud is in it, and Sephiroth's in it quite a lot as well, because it's kind of like an origin story for these characters, and it's just so well done. And I'm really loving that they're doing it is a remake. It's not a remaster, up-res or anything like that. It's like it looks to me like they've redone the game in a whole new engine from the ground up. Because obviously, think of the PSP on that tiny screen, how old the system is now.
Yeah.
Like I watched some side-by-side videos this week, and it's just, it's a brand new engine. So I am really excited for this, because as well, it's coming this year. It's coming Christmas time this year. So I love it when
every platform.
Yeah, to every platform. This is what I really, really like, because it's like some Final Fantasy games, which I'll get on, like the other Final Fantasy game, which I'll get onto in a minute, is only coming out on the PlayStation 5. Whereas like Square's, like they must be doing some deals with PlayStation here, because like this is coming to everything: PlayStation, Switch, Xbox, PC. Whereas Final Fantasy VII Remake, PlayStation only, and obviously it hit PC a year later. No Xbox on that. And then Final Fantasy 16 is also PlayStation 5 exclusive. So obviously, Final Fantasy fans, if you're a proper Final Fantasy fan, you need to have a PlayStation as well. So the other announcement that they made is that Final Fantasy VII Remake Part 2 is coming out next year, Christmas next year, and it's called Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. So, has obviously, so they announced that Final Fantasy VII Remake is 100% coming out as a trilogy. So you're going to have Part 2, which is coming out next year, and then you're going to have the third one. They haven't given us the proper title for it yet, but that's coming out at some point, and that'll be the final part of the remake. Now, they showed us quite about a minute trailer. Sephiroth was quite prominent in this trailer, and so was Zack, actually. Which is quite strange, because if you've played Crisis Core, you know what happens to Zack at the end of the game, right? So,
well, if you played 7, you know.
Well, if you played 7 as well. So I am definitely in a mind now where this game is, the story is completely different to the original Final Fantasy 7.
It's I'm still looking forward to it, don't get me wrong.
Yeah,
but
I am as
because it's going to be its own new thing, I'm like, right, what's going to be different? What are they going to miss out? What are they going to change? Because there's certain parts of obviously 7 I was really looking forward to seeing.
Yeah.
Like in the new upgrade, and the fact that they're going down a separate timeline with it by the looks of things, because obviously the release of Crisis Core as well is obviously going to be pivotal in this retelling.
Yeah, I think
there's a main character in Crisis Core, I believe, is going to be in the remakes.
Yeah, I think so, because
in the remakes in some way.
Yeah, because you see in this trailer that Zack is carrying Cloud to Midgar, and you're like, hang on a minute, what's going on here? So I think there's kind of like alternate dimension, different timeline or something going on, because the story was changed up quite a bit in the original remake anyway. Certain things that happens, and I'm actually thinking now, because if you rewatch this trailer, there's the scene where Aeris is holding, well, everyone knows that in Final Fantasy VII, Aeris dies, right? then they kind of show that scene, and then they say, you know, do things change? Question mark, sort of thing. And I'm thinking, does she actually die in this? Does it completely change and she just lives, and that whole scene just doesn't happen? You know, that's just you know, for us fans, it's like, what's going to happen? You know, we'll see. Will it happen? Won't it happen? What's going to happen? Oh my goodness!
Yeah, what will take the place of Holy?
Yeah,
if that's the case.
yeah. But
Where's
yeah,
the gold saucer?
yeah. But it's just interesting because from that trailer, like Cloud and Sephiroth as well are just like wandering around, just having a bit of a chat, a bit of a chit chat. So it's like, well, what's going on? You know, I don't know.
We
Man.
know what part of the game that's from, though. Like, technically, that's the flashback scene where they go to the facility.
Yeah.
I believe, anyway. But like, for all we know, because of the way it's being done, is Sephiroth actually there?
Yeah. It's.
Or is it just another memory playing out in Cloud's mind?
I'm hyped, you know, because we've got all these fights. We've got, you know, Crisis Core coming out this year. We've got Final Fantasy 7 Remake next year. We've got Final Fantasy 16 next year. We're just in Final Fantasy heaven at the minute. It's great. So I am hyped, baby. Hyped to the extreme.
I still hold out some hope that Remake will end up on the Xbox One.
I don't think it will now. I think it's just going to be.
They might release it when the second part comes out on PlayStation. It might be like, and for people on the Xbox, you can play the first part now. Because it does seem weird just completely keeping it off when every other Final Fantasy is pretty much now available on the system.
Well, I'm a little bit confused that it's not out on Xbox now, because when it came out, it was originally stated that PlayStation had a 1-year exclusive deal on this, and it's been over 2 years now, and it's still not out on the Xbox. That to me just says it's exclusive to PlayStation.
Especially when they did the thing of like they showcased at the beginning that you can get Remake Integrate, and it's like, here we go, this is the Xbox. Oh no, it's the
Steam version,
PC version for it.
Well, even though it's been out on PC for a year anyway on the Epic Store, so it's basically just announcing you can get it on PC again on a different storefront. Like, big whoopee fucking do.
For 70 quid.
Yeah, it's insane. Just so you can play it on your Steam Deck. Crazy. So, yeah, it's interesting. So my last couple of pieces of news are quite small. Diablo Immortal, we all know it's out on mobile phone, and they also put it out on PC. It's a free-to-play Diablo game that's been getting a lot of stick. Well, even though it's been getting a lot of stick, it's made $24 million in 2 weeks from people buying microtransactions. So,
shocking.
You know, it's got the bad hype, but people are still spending money on it, and they've made an awful lot. So, yeah, crazy.
Which is why that stuff won't go away, because people are still buying it.
Yeah.
Or paying for it, should I say.
Yeah. My last piece of news is PlayStation Plus Premium is out. It launched in the USA this week. It's been getting, you know, people are quite happy with it. It's out in the UK next week. It's £100 for the year, and you get you get your PS1, PS2, PS3, PS4 games. You get some of the PS5 games like Returnal and Demon Souls on the service as well. So it's kind of PlayStation's alternative to Xbox Game Pass. It does seem to have quite a nice selection of games on there. Actually, it's just finding the time. Like in my mind, it's like, do I get it? Don't I get it? You know, because of time. It's not the money, it's the time. You know, it's got so many games to play as it is just on Game Pass. It's like, well, get it on PlayStation. It's like, oh my god, you know what I mean? So, but I do think it's quite good value. £100 a year, you get some big titles, because you've got to remember, the PlayStation games are £70 each, right? So just to have Returnal and Demon Souls remaster on there, you know, you're already up. So if you've not played them already.
And Strays coming out on there on launch as well. So if you're interested in picking that up.
Yeah. Yeah. So all good in the hood. Yeah, that's all my news.
There was another piece of news.
Go on.
On Monday, it was the Capcom show, the Capcom conference.
Oh,
where they showed off a little bit more of Resident Evil 4. I think they showed us a whole 5 or 6 seconds of extra footage.
Oh.
That we didn't get at the PlayStation event. It wasn't really a great deal, to be honest. They just sort of mainly talked about it and what they was aiming to do with it.
Right.
Then they showed off more of that Exo Primal.
Oh, nice.
Well, sorry, what are they doing with Resident Evil 4 then, Darren?
Remaking it, similar to what they did with RE2 and RE3.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, whole new engine. Yeah. Looks really nice, actually. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's actually got a release date of my birthday next year.
Woohoo!
24th of March. So we'll probably see more of it come the Tokyo Game Show and stuff leading up to the game's release, considering it's less than a year away. Exo Primal, they pretty much showed off that it's a team-based PvP PvE game, or PvE/PvP.
Okay.
Where it's like 2 teams are working to complete objectives faster than the opposing team.
Ooh.
So I was kind of a bit out from that because I'm not particularly into that kind of gameplay thing, per se. I can't remember if they actually showed off anything else. The last thing they showed off was the new content for RE8 coming out later this year.
Oh, right. New DLC expansion.
Yeah.
Nice.
Well, it is, and it's a little bit more as well.
What else has it given you?
So, well, we were always expecting a bit of story DLC, which is what we're getting. So we're getting a kind of weird story DLC that's set 16 years or so after the original RE8.
Okay.
Following a character I won't mention for people just in case they haven't played RE8, but it's mentioning the character at the end of the game.
Yeah.
That you get introduced to, sort of being called back and investigating stuff. But also, along with this DLC, you'll get an option to play the entire game of RE8 in third person.
Okay.
So you can play it exactly like you could in RE4 or the older ones. Plus, they're adding a few extra characters to Mercenaries as well.
I'm not sure I'd want to play it in third person, to be honest, after experiencing it in first person.
It's going to be interesting because it's going to play slightly different.
Yeah. Oh yeah,
obviously been able to see your character and all the rest of it.
Yeah.
And like I said, the extra characters are mercenaries, so you're going to be able to actually play as a couple of the four lords. They basically showed Heisenberg and Lady Dimitrescu.
Yeah. Nice.
So that's going to be weird because apparently, Lady D's melee based, and obviously is 8 foot tall, grabbing enemies and firing at them and stuff.
Wow.
But I think that's a pretty decent package, and it's obviously you can get it as a DLC or get it as a gold edition of the game if you haven't actually picked it up, which will obviously include all of that content.
Yeah.
Which is making me actually wonder whether RE8 VR is going to be an actual separate game in itself, rather than just a sort of add-on for the original game. But we shall see.
Yeah, that sounds interesting, man.
Looks cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, it might have been during this show that they actually talked about the Capcom Arcade Collection Volume 2 or whatever it was.
Yeah, I'm a little bit annoyed about that, actually. Just because, right? It's a separate fucking game, right? So what's it called? Arcade Game Collection, or what's it fucking called? Arcade Capcom.
Something Volume 2. Yeah.
Arcade Stadium, is it?
Yeah.
That sounds about right.
Yeah, so I've got the original Arcade Stadium and I really like it. I like the selection of games.
It's going to have eco fighters and stuff in it though, so that's pretty cool.
Yeah, but the thing I don't like about it is they've got it as a separate fucking game. So instead of being like, oh, here's an expansion for the arcade collection, because like you've got all your cabinets on, it's like, oh, you got to load up a separate fucking game to get to those. I just want it all in one, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I agree with you, mate. It would be a nice package, wouldn't it, to have all in one?
Yeah, most definitely.
But it's cool seeing all the arcade cabinets there, but yeah, why didn't they just add it as a DLC on top of what you've already got?
Oh no, it's really
crazy.
Annoying. Yeah,
I thought that was the whole point of it. They were just going to be adding stuff to it as it went along, like as though it was like a hub. And
no, it's a whole nother game. So you know, instead of being like, oh, I'll load up my arcade collection and I have like 40 games that I can sift through. Oh no, I've got 20 on one. Then I need to close that down and load up the next launcher to load up the other 20. You know what I mean? It's like, just have it all in one fucking place, for fuck's sake. You know?
Yeah.
That's what I find annoying. And it's not just cheap. It's like 35 quid as well. So.
Wasn't the original one like free? And then you just paid for the game.
Yeah, so this is the same. So you download the thing. So you download it and it's got one, I think it's got like one game on it, and then you have to buy the rest.
Because it was like Guild Ghosts and Goblins or something, wasn't it?
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah. So yeah, I just find that a little bit frustrating. And they've also bringing out a fighting collection arcade thing as well, aren't they?
Yeah, pre-ordered that.
Which does look quite.
I mean, a lot of people will be picking that up just for Red Earth because, as far as I'm aware, this is the first time you've actually been able to play it properly outside of the arcade itself.
What's it called? The fight?
Because it used like what was the arcade technology they used for that? It used like a different kind of board, didn't it? Did it have like a disc thing attached to it or something? Yeah, there was a few games that they brought out that weren't on your traditional arcade boards. They used something slightly more to get a bit more power, and that's why they weren't compatible with like the super gun and things like that.
Yeah, I'm not up on that sort of later stuff there, arcade hardware wise. But yeah, I know the CPS2 boards because I've owned them, which are pretty expensive. But yeah, I mean, it's great that they're doing this, and it's great seeing these unreleased games coming out. But you know, give us it in one package. Give us a physical release as well. There's no sign of a physical release. I want a physical release.
Yeah,
you know.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah.
Because I just don't feel like I own this shit. You know, if it all goes shit hits the fan, then I've lost it all again, or I've got to fucking rebuy it all again. You know, we did all that on the Wii U. I bought all the Neo Geo games on the Wii U, and then I lost them all because.
Well, this is why I think Xbox do it quite well, Alex.
They do
because you know, I mean, I've got, you know, I can put most of my arcade games I bought on the 360. I can still play on my Xbox Series X or S even now. You know, so they keep the back catalogues going now, which is really, really nice. I think
it is good. Yeah.
Oh, I did remember one other thing. Sorry, from the Capcom thing they announced. Obviously, you can play up-gen versions of RE2, RE7, and RE3.
Yeah, I actually.
Which apparently caused a few issues, didn't it, on PC or something?
Oh yeah,
where they actually had to enable people to downgrade the game or something because it was running slower or something.
Yeah, so on the upgrade on PC, it only runs in DirectX 12. So if you have an older graphics card that doesn't support that, then you can't effectively play the game. Also, I have a little moan about the Xbox version, and it's just a moan about hard drive space. So, I have Resident Evil 7 on my external hard drive because it's an Xbox One game, but because it updated, it wanted to update to the newer version. It only works on the internal SSD. So it was trying to update on my Series S this afternoon, and it kept on saying no hard drive space, no fucking hard drive space. So I've had to delete the game now because you know, I can't fucking update it, which is really annoying. So, yeah. So that's just a moan from me on that one, to be honest. But shall we get into questions? Because time is ticking along. And we haven't actually answered the questions for a few weeks. So there was one on Twitch earlier, but I think I answered it actually kind of in my chat about the Series S, to be honest. I can't actually. Yeah, so Brooksy asked why the Series S is it any good and is it worth an upgrade from a 1X? An upgrade from a 1X. I mean, that's quite a tough one. I mean, obviously you've got the better loading times, but graphically, it's probably not a lot of difference. But I would say Series X all the way. You know, go all in. Don't go half-hearted with the Series S. You'll be disappointed. So I just want to reiterate that. Ninja Rods asks if you could bring back any cancelled game from the grave, what would it be? What was that Xbox one that got cancelled that looked really, really good?
Scalebound.
Yes.
It didn't look great, in my opinion. It seemed a bit sort of cheesy and Americanified for a Japanese game.
I still want to see GoldenEye remake as well, because that obviously got made on the Xbox 360, never came out, so in my mind that's kind of cancelled, right?
I'll go for Senran Kagura 7.
I can't think of one, guys. I mean, I don't know.
It's hard to think now because, like, a lot of games now don't really get canned like they did back in the old days. You'd hear stories in the gaming magazines back in the day of, you know, oh, this game's coming out, and then you'd see that it was cancelled. You'd be like, oh no, you know.
Did that 6 Days in Fallujah or whatever it was called? Did that ever come out, or was that cancelled again, like after it resurfaced?
Oh, I don't actually know if that came out or not. Actually,
I know there was a typical like journalist stink that went up when it was like re-announced or resurfaced.
Actually, I can think of two. There's two. I know I was really gutted when we never got Star Fox 2. But I know that has since been released, isn't it, by Nintendo? You can actually download that. The other one was Axlay, man. They started making Axlay 2 and never finished. That would have been amazing. That would have been amazing.
Yeah, that game did come out. That 6 Days in Fallujah did come out, so. Yeah. What's my tag asked? What's your favourite racetrack in any game? I mean, you two don't really play races, do you?
Yeah, I do, but it's hard to tell, really.
Mute City, F-Zero.
Fair enough.
That's a pretty good one.
Mine is Nürburgring all the way from Project Cars Racing. It's been my favourite track, and it still is. It's my favourite track on Gran Turismo. It's absolutely fantastic. I'm just going to rip through these questions because it's getting really, really late. So, I'm going to have a couple more. Hurricane asks a question that's probably mainly aimed at you, Darren. How do you feel about the simple controls they're implementing into Street Fighter 6? Do you think it will help casuals get into the game better?
See, I'm kind of torn on this. Like, yeah, it will help casuals get into the game, but one of the main appeals from fighting games is learning it.
Yeah, I agree.
Learning the mechanics, learning the moves. Like, I remember, like, one of the earliest achievements in gaming was being able to pull off like a dragon punch whenever you wanted. And because of that, it then brings you into more stuff. I mean, they've done it more and more now with more fighting games, like going even as far as, like, obviously the recent King of Fighters 15 that came out. All of the characters' super moves are pulled off with the exact same button combinations and direct.
Are they doing this because are they doing this because it's not getting an arcade release? Because if you got Street Fighter 4 had an arcade release, joystick, 6 buttons, everyone knows it, don't they?
Yeah.
As soon as you start playing around,
it's still got the traditional. It's still got all the traditional stuff there for the people that want it. This is just like an easy mode for the other people. Yeah, so it's an option.
Oh, that's okay then.
But again, it's still kind of like it's nice to have that option there for a while or so, but you're not really fully learning the game. And as far as I can work out, the plus side of it is there's certain combos and things you won't be able to do if you're just using the simple inputs.
Right.
It does limit like your accessibility of what is available to you. As far as like the simple button inputs go with fighting games, the only thing I can really think of that I've actually quite liked is where you can map throw to a button. Because there's quite a few games where it used to be like you'd push two buttons together to do the throw.
Oh, yeah.
And occasionally your timing might be slightly off and you might hit one button a bit earlier than the other and you don't throw, you do a medium hit or whatever instead, and it's like, no, that's not what I was trying to do.
Fair dues.
We'll see. I mean, it's always been a thing to, like, they're always trying to think of ways to bring more people to that sort of type of game, but I've always thought learning the game and the different mechanics for each title is like part of the charm of them.
Yeah.
Although it has been a barrier when it comes to obviously some of the stuff like Guilty Gear and BlazBlue and that in the past, because they have been quite complicated. In fact, going back as far as to say there's been a few games that had pretty horrendous to pull off super moves for certain characters. Like I'll always remember Geese Howard's super in a lot of his games being an absolute nightmare to pull off at times. It feels really great when you get it down and you can just pull it off perfect every time.
Yeah. Cool, man. That's a good answer.
I suppose you could say the same thing with like Akuma's like Raging Demon as well, because it was button combinations, direction, and another couple of button combinations, all done like within a really stringent time frame to actually pull off.
Okay.
But you'll probably just be able to do that. Push up a button now on a direction or something.
But it's still going to be an option for the hardcore players anyway. It's just like a noob mode for nubs, and it won't be online or anything.
I'm kind of slightly worried about the fact that I think when you're playing online, you will be matched with people using simple button combinations. So
that would be silly if that was the case. Yeah.
Well, yes and no, but like I say, you are limited with what you can pull off. So, but I'd imagine there might be an option like similar to how like you can turn crossplay on and off. You might be able to be like, no, I don't want to play against people using a certain control scheme.
Yeah, that makes sense. All right, well, I've got to cut it off here, guys. It is nearly 11 o'clock at night, so you know, time is up, unfortunately. But it's been awesome. Thank you very much for both of you coming on. Yeah.
Cheers, Webby. Cheers, Darren.
Yeah. No worries.
Awesome. So from me, Mark Webb, Gamertag, PSMD, Steam ID, Webby, 360G.
From Alex, Nintendo Arcade. Cheers, guys.
And Sensei Switch.
So thank you very much. We will hopefully see you all next week. Goodbye.